Hey everyone, Mystical Mark here. So this will be your intuitive astrology forecast for the week of September 21st to the 27th of 2025. And of course, in this video, I will intuitively tune in to my own higher self to get the overall, vibe for each aspect that will be occurring this week, both major and minor. Now, before we get into this, if you're looking for any kind of reading with me, all those links are, of course, in the description below if you are in any way interested. All right? And of course, as I say at the beginning of all of my videos, astrology is an energetic template conducive to certain things, meaning my guidance was it's like a math formula. So you have the chart, the energetic template, and of course, there's variables that exist within that math formula, and that's where we have the free will to change it, okay? It's just like in order to be the person that you came here to be, that your higher self wanted to create, the character that you wanted to play, you had to come in at a certain time or a certain energy that was conducive to creating that character. All right. With that, also, I do get stuff through intuitively through this. So any kind of prediction that I make or anything surrounding things like that, it is always subject to change. Okay, as with any intuitive reading, whether it's cards or whatever, okay, it doesn't matter. It's always subject to change because, of course, we have free will. Okay, with all that being said, let us jump into the charts for this week. Let me just pull it up on my end here, and we're going to start here on Sunday, September 21st, where we're going to have this new moon solar eclipse happening in Virgo. This is the second new moon in Virgo. First one was at the 0 degree point. Now the second one at the 29 degree point. Interesting that these are both critical degrees in astrology. So this is happening now at this anaretic degree. So there's this very intensity just astrologically in general, not necessarily relating to the fact that these are eclipses that are happening here. Okay, interestingly enough, this eclipse is happening in opposition to this Saturn and both Neptune retrograde here on that cusp of Pisces Aries as well. So, yeah. Let me just tune into this here first initially to see. So this new moon, second new moon in Virgo, so this new moon solar eclipse in Virgo. It's almost like I get this looming energy. It's like you know what you need to take care of. Okay? Again, it's relating to the past eclipses, past energy of the past weeks of this eclipse season, as there's stuff that has to get taken care of and has to get fixed. It's almost like, yeah, you know what you need to take care of, but it's almost like this. Initially, it kind of felt like an ending of this cycle. Now, this is a new moon, so this energy is going to be effective for this next lunar month. So we've had 2 lunar months now where we've had this overall vibe of Virgo energy. So there's a extreme emphasis on this energy, as I feel like it's relating to maybe like fixing stuff. Now, let me just tune into a bit more to this new moon in Virgo here, this eclipse. I'm getting that opposition to like that Saturn energy now. That's like Saturn. It's like Saturn is hanging out here and is like it's almost like what it's like. Are you doing this? Like wanting you to put in the work, wanting you like it's. Have you learned this? Have you realized that it's like it's very Saturn, like 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 the boss energy. Let me just anything else with this new moon solar eclipse in Virgo. It feels like there is an aspect of change to this, okay? And I like that first eclipse, there was a sesqui-square to Pluto retrograde. Now with this one, I see there's a trine. It's an out of sign trine, but there's a trine you're building to this Pluto retrograde again. But there's this aspect of change. And again, we're dealing with mutable energy as well when we're dealing with this Virgo Pisces axis, which deals with, it's a changeable energy. It's malleable. But it feels like there's it feels big. Like when I tune into it, it feels big. It's like, you know what you have to do, but it feels big. So either it almost feels in a sense like we've already been working towards this, and it's now we know what we have to do. Or if you haven't been paying attention, maybe it's you know what you have to do. But what it feels more so is like we've been working towards this in terms of fixing and dealing with things, and it's like you know what you have to do now. Whatever this change is, whatever that needs to be reworked and transformed or dealt with or fixed or whatever, that is what is coming through now with this new moon solar eclipse. Wow. Anything else with this new moon solar eclipse? I'm just getting the feeling of Virgo. It's very Virgo, and I think we're going to have another month that's going to feel very Virgo, okay? Despite the fact that right after this, we're basically heading into Libra season, all right? But it's going to be flavored, I think, feel very strongly by this energy of Virgo, okay? Anything else surrounding this? They're like, no, you're done. You're done now. You've said what you needed to say. Okay, so that's Sunday. All right, and I think that's enough for Sunday. Let's move on to Monday, the 22nd here. All right, and of course, on Monday the 22nd, we're going to have a couple things going on. We're going to have Mars now coming into Scorpio. Okay, so Mars has left Libra, now coming into Scorpio, and then we're also going to have the Sun coming into Libra. Now, so let me just tune in first to this Mars coming into Scorpio. Mars entering into Scorpio. I just feel like this, oh my God. There's an intensity to this, and initially what it kind of feels like is there's a strong, I feel a lower chakra energy, okay, because now we're dealing with Mars in Scorpio, so we're dealing with a lot of passion, and it could be very sexual, is what I'm saying. There's a strong aspect of sexuality, sexual energy with Mars in Scorpio, okay? Now, there's also I feel like a strong intensity. I feel a masculine energy that feels very strong and intense, it almost feels mean, that is wanting to do something, take care of something. It's like this, what I feel, it feels like the energy of the 1980s, okay, where there was like this masculine energy, and it was very it almost didn't feel like a very positive masculine. Now, what I'm getting with this when I say that is it's working to transform that. Okay, so initially we could feel that vibe of that, because the 1980s, it's like there was this old, that old toxic masculine where you had to fight to solve your problems, and you had to it's very strong and intense, and you got to do, it's very all of that. But what I get with that is, as soon as I was saying that and talking about that, is that there was this aspect, okay, but we're in Scorpio, it's transforming that. So initially that might come up, but then there's an aspect of there's transforming that aspect of masculine energy that is occurring with that in Scorpio. Anything else that is with that Mars entering into Scorpio? I then, after that, get more of a positive vibe of the masculine energy. I almost want to say rebirthed and transformed, and more in tune. Okay, so Scorpio is a very deep sign. There's a strong depth to this, to Scorpio. And I feel with that, then that masculine energy then becomes more in tune as it relates to that depth. So through that transformation and facing and dealing with whatever this is, there now feels like there's more a depth to this masculine energy, to this more positive energy in a more positive way. And what that is it also feels like that masculine energy is now able to see things maybe a lot more clearly and face and see to the depth of which that is a lot more clearly than before, and understanding the depth of which than before. Okay, because Scorpio can also be like that psychic energy. It dives deep into wherever it's going. So it's able to get to the bottom of things, see it for what it actually is. And I feel like through this transformation, it's that masculine energy that is now able to see it for what it is. Okay? Scorpio is a feminine sign and a very strong feminine energy. And it's almost like the masculine is now able to somehow tune into that, to now be able to actually see that and understand, instead of being a toxic dick. Anything else surrounding this Mars entering into Scorpio? Okay, no, that's what we're doing. Okay, all right. Also now we have the sun here coming into Libra, so this is the September equinox, the fall equinox, or spring equinox if you're in the southern hemisphere, where we're experiencing the season change now heading into fall. So you can see we're now heading into this quarter section of the chart wheel here, and moving past the descendant into this, although anyway, I won't get into that. But so sun entering into Libra. Let me just tune into this. Sun entering into Libra. I feel this masculine-esque feminine energy, like I said, how I've described Libra before, which is basically just a very strong feminine and willing to take action, to strive for balance, justice, etc. And it just feels like fall to me. I mean, what it feels like is Libra, honestly. And this is part of the reason why I don't do my short form content on things like the sun entering into Libra. I do it on other major things like planets entering other signs, etc., like a lot of the major things, but I don't do it with the sun because, number one, my guidance is to steer away from just basic sun sign astrology, as I'm here to show people that there's also a lot more to this than just your sun sign or your big three. If you're just focusing on that, I'm sorry, but you're doing it wrong. Sorry if I triggered you, but yeah, anyway. But it's to steer people away from that, but also because this happens every year. It's an overall general energy of that sign through the sun just illuminating it through that month. So there really isn't much to talk about because everybody knows the qualities of each sign, and then when the sun is there, that's kind of just the general vibe, right? And it's just kind of boring, okay? Whereas you, astrologically, just because you have the sun in a sign doesn't mean that that's the major part of your energy. Sorry to say, I mean, maybe, but likely not really. Okay, because you have a lot of other stuff going on there. And it's also, why did your higher self want to create the version of you? As in, why did it want to come in at that specific time in order to, experience whatever it wanted to experience? So then why did it have the sun in Libra? But again, that's only a minor part because there's all the rest of your other chart to deal with. And that deals with the complexity of you. So focusing solely on your sun sign is just, that's why I'm being guided away from it, because people look at it too much on a surface level, or they're focusing on that one thing when that's not really what it is at all. And that tends to be what gives astrology a bad name, is because mainstream is focused on just your sun or your big three, when I'm sorry, but you're kind of missing the point, you're missing the boat if that's all that you're looking at, really. But yeah, anyway, so it feels like Libra. And that's all I'm going to say on that. And then I think we'll just move on now to Tuesday the 23rd. All right. So Tuesday the 23rd here, we're going to have this Mars energy now in Scorpio in quincunx to Neptune. Oh my goodness, Neptune retrograde in Mars's sign of Aries. So let me just tune into this Mars in quincunx to Neptune. I get this masculine energy again, but it's almost like seeing it for what it is. Because with that Neptune energy and that Neptune retrograde, what I'm getting with this quincunx here is there's a frustration in that masculine-esque vibe, that old school toxic masculine, doesn't want to face it and see it for what it is, despite the fact that that Neptune, that internalization, that retrograde, going inside and seeing that depth, seeing something for what it is, looking past the illusion, it's like it doesn't want to do that. There's a stubbornness where it doesn't want to actually face and transform. Okay, and that's where that quincunx is coming in, and there's a frustration there that is occurring with that. Now, again, we all have both masculine and feminine energy within all of us, so we all have the ability to express masculine energy, and if we are expressing it in that toxic way and we're not looking at that to deal with it and maybe express it more in a positive way, then that could be highlighted for all of us in general, not just those who are physically male. However, there's probably a very prominent part to that, but this is the masculine energy in general, whether it's someone who expresses more as masculine, or the masculine energy within ourselves, or someone who is a physical male that is more representative of that energy. However, that's not going to be everyone. Okay? So yeah, is there anything else with this? Mars and quincunx. No, just that masculine, just not wanting. Well, what I get is it's being shown to him, but he's not wanting to look at it. It's almost like being thrown at him, and he's like, it's not really, because that's not really where he's used to going. But it's like, too bad, and that's where that frustration lies. Anything else with that? Nope, we're good. Okay. We're also going to have the Sun here in opposition to Neptune retrograde as well. So let me just tune into this. Sun and Libra opposition, Neptune retrograde. I get that that it feels like Libra, but that feminine energy. There's a masculine-esque feminine energy, I'm going to call it that. And she's got no trouble with this Neptune. She's got no trouble in being able to tune in, feel in, and understand. It's like with this opposition, she's got it together. And initially, the words that I got with that is the feminine. She's got her shit together. The feminine has her shit together. This was related to in last week's video and a previous video surrounding this eclipse season. But the feminine has her shit together. Anything else surrounding that opposition? It's like she's willing to go within. She's willing to go within. She's willing to see it. She's willing to understand what is out of balance and what needs to be balanced, and what's not just, and everything. She's willing to go within and see all of this stuff with this internal reworking and understanding. She's willing to do it. She's 100% willing to do it. And that balance, she's 100% willing to have this balance occur. This opposition that is seeking for balance to occur. She's 100% willing to do that and able to go in and do it. Now again, in astrology, people tend to talk about, oppositions and squared as O's, they're negative or whatever. They're really not, and they don't have to be. What an opposition is seeking for balance. What a square is pushing for resolution or trying to take action to fix something in some way and relating to that. It doesn't have to be bad. A square just means fucking do something about it. An opposition means find a way to balance this out. That's all it is. It doesn't have to be bad at all. And in fact, if you take action to do those things, it leads to a positive outcome. So there is, in essence, then, nothing really wrong with those aspects. There's nothing negative about them. It's your perception, or people's perception of them tends to be negative because they're not really truly understanding it for what it actually is. Okay? And when you got your shit together like the feminine, that opposition is nothing to her. She's like, yeah, I got this. We can balance this out like nothing. I'm willing to deal with this. I'm willing to actually solve this because I like balance. I want to achieve balance. I want to deal with this, and I'm going to go within. I'm going to do what I have to do. Okay? Anything else beyond that opposition? Okay, no, we can move beyond that. All right, we're also going to have the sun here in this semi-sextile to Mars in Scorpio. Okay. Sun in semi-sextile to Mars. What needs to be balanced? So getting with this masculine, so what needs to be balanced, and then I kind of want to tune in a bit more, and it's regarding this transformation of this masculine energy in terms of what needs to be balanced and what's being highlighted and illuminated with that, with the sun there. Anything else surrounding that? No, it's just what needs to be balanced. It's kind of what I already touched on with that. Also, too, we're going to have the sun here and now in trine to Uranus retrograde. This Libra energy feels very strong, though, actually, with this. Let me just tune into sun in trine to Uranus retrograde. So this Uranus retrograde, and I talked about this, is highlighting these aspects of change. So it's going over this old ground, trying to make you aware, in Gemini, make you aware of what needs to change. And of course, with the sun in Libra here, it's illuminating what needs to change, but how it relates to this aspect of injustices, imbalances, etc. And that's how that change needs to occur, making you aware of what needs to change in that way. But it's surrounding these old things because it's this retrograde that is occurring. It's this old stuff that needs to be taken care of. That awareness that's being brought to you is being shown, okay, you got to fix this. This is out of balance. This is out of whack. This is whatever. This needs you. We need to seek justice in this, and this. That's what needs to occur in this way. All right. Anything else surrounding that? Nope. Let's move on. Okay, we're going to move on to Wednesday the 24th here. All right, and we're going to have now the sun in trine to Pluto, which will happen basically right in the middle of the night. Okay, so sun in trine to Pluto. Sun, let me tune into this. Sun in Libra trine to Pluto in Aquarius. What I'm getting again is you know what needs to change. And it's relating to this aspect of like balance. Seeking balance through that, or understanding that change leading to that whatever balance and justice that is there. Excuse me, when I burp like that, usually saying it's guidance to pay attention to this. Okay, so the sun like went behind a cloud, and the lights that I have behind my screen are like blinding me now. I'm like, whoa, this is different. Anyway, so it's the seeking. Okay, let me get my bearings straight here. You know what needs to change in seeking that aspect of balance, basically. All right, anything else with that sun in trine to Pluto? No, let's move on. All right. We also got Mars here, now in Scorpio, in quincunx to, oh my goodness, Uranus retrograde. Okay, Mars in Scorpio and quincunx to Uranus. The words that I got right away is unwillingness to change. Unwillingness to change. But it's almost like you're being forced to. As an unwillingness to change, but it's like it's being thrown in your face through that Uranus retrograde, but also that Mars in Scorpio. It's dealing a lot with the masculine energy, like I said. And it's throwing it in your face of what needs to change regarding from this masculine expression or that masculine vibe. Okay? The masculine knows, it's aware. What I'm getting at is they're seeing it, they're aware, but there's almost like a refusal of it. So that Uranus retrograde in Gemini is doing its job. But I feel like with that quincunx there's a frustration because there's a refusal of it by that masculine energy that is like, oh no, I've been doing this for whatever, and there's that it's fucked up energy, but it's the refusal of that wanting to see it. No, well actually no, he does see it, but it's like he's refusing it. Anything else surrounding that? No, that's basically the gist of that. We also have Mars here in square to Pluto, retrograde as well. So let me tune into this. Mars and Pluto rules Scorpio where Mars is. So Mars in square to Pluto. It's really pushing for that change. Because what I get is a masculine like, like he doesn't want to deal with it. But what it is, again, that square pushes, trying to push for resolution, push for action to occur here. And it's just, there's very strong Scorpio energy dealing with this Mars. Mars is in Scorpio. Pluto, the ruler of Scorpio, is in square to Mars. And it's like it's almost like forcing that masculine energy to be like, no, you've got to change. You've got to transform. You've got to deal with this. Okay? Anything else surrounding that Mars in square to Pluto? No, they're saying you're good. Okay, so we also have as well Saturn here in trine to Juno in Scorpio. So let me just tune into the Saturn in trine to Juno in Scorpio. What it feels like is Saturn is highlighting through its restriction and through this control. It's like, hey, you getting this? Do you know what needs to change and transform here? In terms of Juno is committed partnerships, contracts, committed relationships, business contracts, that kind of stuff. And what I get is Saturn's like, hey, like, are you listening? Like, I feel like that Saturn is, because Saturn's retrograde and it's going over this old stuff. And like I said with Saturn in Pisces, the dissolution of that malefic energy, but it's like, hey, this has to change. Are you listening? You need to see what has to transform here in terms of these Juno vibes, is partnerships, contracts, business contracts, whatever, okay, that needs to occur and shift and change here. Anything else with that? It feels very Saturnian, is like, are you learning the lesson or have you learned the lesson? Is very strongly relating to this. Anything else with that? I almost get like Saturn, like, nope, that's about it. Okay, so moving on. Thank you, Saturn. Moving on. I have this Venus in semi-square to Jupiter on this day as well. Venus in Virgo in semi-square to Jupiter. I get a frustrated, mother-like feminine energy. She's willing to take action to fix and deal with things and take care of things, but it's very frustrating regarding the people that she's dealing with. It almost feels like, again, like this motherly teacher energy dealing with like kids or students or something, and there's a frustration. She's not mad at, it's just frustrating. She's not mad at them. It's just frustrating that she's dealing with this stuff because they're acting like children. She's dealing with children. They're acting like children, and she's got to fix and deal with all of these little things. And yeah, anything else surrounding that? But it's this very strong motherly, almost like, okay, do this, do that. It's like she's taking care of it. It's not like she doesn't love them or anything. But it's like she's kind of annoyed or frustrated. It's like, you're acting like children. You know, like people are acting like children, and she's getting annoyed and frustrated with this. That's kind of that vibe that feels like. Anything else surrounding that? It's like she's the one left fixing and dealing with things, really, but she's doing it. She's doing it because no one else is gonna help her. Anything else surrounding this? She's pissed off, but she's like, fuck it, I'm gonna do it. Is what that feels like. And again, we have both divine masculine and divine feminine energy within all of us. Or if this is someone that expresses more as feminine, or in that more motherly vibe, or whatever I talked about, or someone that is physically feminine, or the feminine aspect within us. Okay? So that is Wednesday the 24th. Let's move on to Thursday the 25th here. And we're just on this day going to have this Venus in biquintile to Pluto retrograde. So let me just tune into this Venus in biquintile to Pluto retrograde. She's working on the details of something that's transforming and changing behind the scenes. So she's putting in the work. It feels like she's doing it on her own time, in her own place, wherever, behind the scenes, kind of an energy, and she's just taking care of what needs to be transformed and changed. And she's fucking doing it. She's putting in the work to fix the details, to look at the details, to put in the work. I feel like that Virgo energy of like that work, like that, almost like that blue collar type of work, to just, not necessarily that, but that's just the vibe of like doing what she's got to do to fix and transform and make the appropriate changes. All right. Anything else surrounding this energy? Nope. That's about it. Okay. So let's move on here to Friday the 26th. Friday the 26th. And it looks like there's quite a few. Well, okay, let's start on the top of the list here, where we're going to have Mercury in this semi-square to Juno here. So Mercury in Libra semi-square to Juno. It's almost like there's a communication or an awareness of a balance that needs to occur within whatever these kind of partnerships are, contractual partnerships, whatever. It almost feels like those who are wanting to control that contract or that partnership or whatever, they maybe would have had like some kind of hidden agenda or ulterior motives behind it. And it's like now there's this aspect of awareness of justice or injustice and imbalance that is now coming through, that whoever else is involved has been made aware of, and now they're wanting to take care of that in order to transform whatever those contracts or partnerships are to be more balanced and more so in an appropriate way. And the other person that was trying to take advantage or be deceptive or, get what they wanted out of it instead of allowing it to be fair are now like, shit. Like, okay, we got to deal with this. It's like they're kind of like, have their tail between their legs, so to speak, because they've been kind of like called out and they're having to be like, it's almost like making the PR move to make it look like, it's like, oh shit, we're being called out, we better deal with this and pretend like we didn't know. Something like that, okay? Is what that feels like. Anything else surrounding this aspect? And they're like, nope, you can move on. Sorry, I got a lot to do today, so I'm just kind of really like shifting here. Also, we're going to have this Venus in this quintile to Black Moon Lilith here in Scorpio. So let me just tune into this now, this Venus in quintile to Black Moon Lilith in Scorpio. Oh, she be that Black Moon Lilith, she be helping that feminine energy like take care of something. That's this very strong Lilith energy, but she's working with like this positive feminine energy. She's like, yeah, girl, I got you. She's helping her like behind the scenes to fix and take care of something. It's almost like they're in a room or something together and they're like fixing a dress or fixing whatever, and they're like helping each other to get this shit together to get it done. It's like kind of, it's not necessarily hidden, but it's not really necessarily out in the open either. It's like if you look, you can see it. But if you're not looking, you're not going to see it. Okay? And she's really helping her with that feminine, that Venus and Virgo, to take care of this stuff, to help, to transform it and take care of it with that intense energy to deal with all of these things that she's got to deal with. That she's really got that support of Lilith behind her in doing this. That's like that very strong feminine energy support that she's got, really. Anything else with that, Quintile? Like, nope, we can move on. Okay, we've also got the sun here as well that will be in quintile to Jupiter. Okay, on this day, so sun in Libra in quintile to Jupiter. It feels like a feminine, could be like a motherly kind of an energy that's like, it's wanting balance, a justice in some way, but there's something that's out of balance and she feels stressed. And it's almost like there's this letting go of whatever is causing that in order to, this is like behind the scenes. This is almost like an internalized focus where she realizes this and then she's just almost pushing away whatever is causing the problem, and then in order to achieve that balance, and then just almost like ignoring it, walking the way and not dealing with it anymore, right, is what that really feels like. But that's more of an internalized thing that will kind of eventually appear in reality, but she's not making a show of it. Okay, it's almost like you're just ignoring it and then moving on, and other people are like, what? They're seeing it and then they're like, oh, she might have been mad and it's probably related to this, and they just don't talk about it. Okay, that's kind of that energy is in terms of what I feel with that. Anything else surrounding this? We can move forward. All right, we're also going to have Mars here making minor aspects to the node. So there's a sesqui-square to the north node and this semi-square to the south node here. Okay, so again, north node Pisces, south node Virgo. So this is happening right at the end of the day. Let me just tune in here overall to this Mars aspecting the nodes. It's almost this masculine energy like, okay, I gotta move in this direction. Like I said, where he's being forced to like transform, it's like he can see the path, but it's like it's not where he's used to going. And he's like, he knows he needs to go there. And it's like he's being forced to go there. But he's like, okay. It's almost like, it's like this idea of that toxic masculinity where they don't want to do something that is feminine when doing it would actually be good for them. Like facing your emotion or self-care, things like that. But he's reluctantly being forced to be like, no, you have to deal with this. You need to move in this new direction. Okay, and again, I feel like that's what that sesqui-square, because that's a super square that's like, no, it can't be swept under the rug any longer. You have got to do this. What was once practical is not going to serve you any longer. Okay, so let's tune into this Mars. Let's do it to that sesqui-square to the north node first. It's frustration and reluctance to move forward, but he's being forced to. He doesn't have a choice, is what that really is. He knows that he has to now, and he has to go forward. That semi-square to the south node in Virgo. He doesn't want to let go of what he once knew, but he has to. It has to get let go of in some way. And what he once thought was practical, but he knows. He's aware he has to let go of it. He just doesn't want to go through the trek to actually have to do this. But he doesn't have a choice, and he has to do it. Because what I'm seeing and what I'm feeling being drawn to here is there's still this square to Pluto. Okay, so there's still this intensity that's occurring surrounding this aspect of change. Anything else surrounding these aspects with the nodes? No, we're good. All right, let's move on here to Saturday. Saturday the 27th. Okay, looks like just a couple things. So we're going to have this Mercury now in sesqui-square to Uranus. So let me just tune into this Mercury now in Libra in sesqui-square to Uranus. It's like you have no choice but to pay attention to what you need to change. What needs to seek balance, what needs to change regarding balance, providing this balance in your life, etc. Again, the sesqui-square, which pushes for a really strong square, and it's not something that can't be swept under the rug any longer. It's really pushing that you have to deal with this. Okay, and that's what that vibe is like this change has to be dealt with, and it has to be dealt with now. Okay, in going forward. Anything else surrounding this Mercury in sesqui-square to Uranus? No, it's just a very strong awareness, and it almost feels like I'm being drawn to that masculine vibe as well, a strong awareness too of what actually needs to be changed and where balance needs to be had, and that could very well relate to that Mars and Scorpio energy that I spoke about as well. Anything else surrounding this? We're good to go. Okay. Also, we're going to have Mars here in this biquintile to Saturn. All right. So Mars in biquintile. Okay, Mars in biquintile to Saturn retrograde. What I get with Saturn is like you know what you need to do. It's this boss type energy, and it's like this lesson of Saturn, What I get with this is more of an internal focus, maybe an intuitive understanding almost. This Saturn energy that's like, what you need to deal with. Okay, what I'm getting with the Saturn energy, where you need to expand is in that realm of Pisces, that emotionality, that going with the flow, that maybe moving away from that which you've known and expand yourself into other areas to allow this to occur because it's what's going to benefit you. Okay? And it's more of an internal focus. He may not be fully expressing it. You may be able to see it. What I get is you can see it in his facial expression or in his bodily expressions. But beyond that, you may not fully see what really is internally going on with him through this realization of this energy. All right. Anything else with this? No, we're good to go. Okay. So you've reached the end of the week for this week. Bring it back to me. Now, I'm just going to tune in maybe on a general level for individual, what we could experience, and then also maybe more on a global one. So generally, on an individual level, what can we maybe experience? What is likely for this week? I'm getting a defeated masculine energy, where it's like he doesn't have a choice, he has to deal with something. The feminine is still taking care of what she has to take care of. It's like they're almost separated and taking care of their own things, really. Anything else surrounding this? It just feels like there's a masculine energy that feels very defeated, and he's forced into this aspect of change, but he needs to make it. He needs to go there, and this needs to occur. Okay, and he knows he doesn't have a choice, and he knows that he has to do it, but he just feels very defeated in doing so. Globally, on a global, economic, political, whatever kind of a scale, what can we expect? It almost seems like masculine leaders not being taken seriously. They no longer have the power they once had. is honestly what that feels like. You think with Mars and Scorpio that it would be giving them more power, but what it feels like is with all this transformation and this change that has to occur, it seems like it's almost like it's being taken away from them because it's not being done in an appropriate way. I don't, interestingly enough, the US, this feels more like on a global scale and not necessarily who you would think of in the US. Anything beyond that, it's because the one in the US is there to show, and he's there for what he's doing it for a reason, to show something, to make people aware, to awaken people. So that what is occurring with the craziness that occurs with the Orange Man is there for a reason to really wake people up in a lot of ways, is what that is kind of coming through, which is why it's not going to be affecting him, because he's actually doing what he's supposed to be doing. Oddly, you can hate me for saying that all you want, but when you think of it in that way, it's waking a lot of people up to a lot of things as well. And so in that sense, and whether that's good or bad, okay, whether that's good or bad, him being in there and literally, like a wrecking ball, shaking things up and creating a lot of chaos, is making people aware of a lot of things. Okay, and that's what I'm getting, is that's part of his purpose in being there. Now, the media takes this in all kinds of directions because obviously a lot of people don't like him, because he triggers a lot of things in a lot of people, and I think that part of that is kind of on purpose. Okay, is kind of what I'm getting with this, and I'm just the messenger here. Honestly, I can't take the man seriously. I don't. And that's probably because I know from a higher level that what he's doing is just ridiculous, and it's all for show. But what it is, and what I'm getting, is that it's helping to make people realize certain things. Okay? And that's why it's like, in a lot of ways, for some, anyways, if you're, okay, I'm not going to talk further on that. Anything else on a global scale here for this, guys? It just feels like a lot of defeated masculine energy, really, honestly. Anything else surrounding that? Any more other details? It's like they're being forced to go internally. They don't know what to do anymore. Things are changing. You know what? Anything else? Do you want me to touch in any? No. So I'm just going to leave it there. Anyways, I'm going to end the video here. If you've made it this far in the video, please leave a purple heart in the comments that I know you're a real one. And, excuse me. Okay, I'm being drawn. Do you want to say anything else, on Trump and what he's doing? What I'm being drawn to say, for whatever reason, is don't worry about him. And that's probably going to trigger a lot of people. And what I'm getting is maybe there's a lot of stuff that we don't okay, what I'm getting is the vibe he's put in that spot for a reason, because he's very good at almost like putting on a show. Okay, so what he says is happening and what is actually going on are two completely different things, and that may not be fully reflected in what the media is showing, because they're only showing based on what he's saying and on what certain things they have access to, but they don't have access to what truly is going on behind the scenes that he might in fact be doing. This is really something. It's almost like I'm still getting like, don't worry about it. It's just a show. Don't worry about it. It's just a show. It's like a clown show. It's like he's the clown. It's like his purpose is for certain other people. There's people that are aware, and then his purpose is to basically make it aware for certain other people. Is there anything that you specifically want me to go here? So is there any, like, you're gonna get me canceled? Okay, what else is what else with this? Don't take him seriously is what I'm getting. Don't take him seriously. There's more than meets the eye. Anything else with this? He's come here to fuck shit up. Anything else? Saying we've told you everything. Okay, so really, anything else on Trump? We're done. Okay, we're ending it there. Again, if you made it this far in the video, please leave a part in the comments that so that I know you're a real one. Please don't cancel me. I'm just the messenger. Thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you all in next week's video. Take care, everyone. Bye.